questions from Explore or from Facebook?
I don't know how they're handling it. I told people on our Facebook page to go to the Explore page, but there's probably a fair number who won't. So maybe one of us should have Facebook open and the other one Explore open. Do you have a preference?
I'll do Explore.
Okay. So Chelsea is going to be looking for the questions on Explore in the chat room, in the Discuss chat room, and I'm going to have our Facebook page open in case there are people there that don't make it into the right chat room, even though we asked them to go there.
She loves your ears. And everyone is saying hello.
Where you got your ears? Did you get the ear memo?
Sorry. Lee's back.
You can buy the ears at the gift shop for $5.
We'll even ship them to you. All right, it's 3:30. I'm not seeing.
Hi, Kathy.
So are you guys okay for me to start?
I'd like to remember, and then I can tell you when it's fun. Yes, it's good. Give me a second. We're a little behind on that.
What Karma and Chelsea are doing, is getting the table here ready for Pam, the little domestic kitten who's been bottle fed. So she's going to be trying out wet cat food, which I understand is not too keen on, and it may be really ugly and messy. But you guys will get to witness one of her first wet cat food trials. Maybe the first wet cat food trial, I'm not sure. We'll have to ask Karma when she comes back.
They're asking how Mickey is doing.
Mickey is doing well. You know, he's never going to have full mobility, but he seems to have a good quality of life and a good, strong desire to live. He's getting pain management and lots of attention from his keepers, so it's a good life for Mickey.
Follow-up question with Keisha.
Keisha? Are you asking about Keisha or Tisha? Keisha's doing fine. She was
I do think they meant Tisha.
Okay. Both of them, Keisha and Tisha, are doing well. I was a little bit worried about Tisha yesterday because they were, okay, they're saying they're almost ready at Explore. The observations on the chart yesterday were saying that she was having a hard time getting around, which she does because she has a spinal injury from the place she came from. But I went out this morning and was on my bike, and she was very alert, very bright, tried to chase the bicycle, which I always discourage her from doing because she just can't run. But it was great to see that she was feeling good enough to try. Oh, look at how pretty!
This is baby Pam, and she is the sole survivor of the 4 bottle feeders we had, but she's doing great. She is probably a quarter times bigger for normal 3-week-old kitten, which she turned 3 weeks old today. And she also eats about double what a 3-week-old kitten would eat, and has started biting the bottle nipple. So we don't want them to do that because if they bite part of the nipple off, they can't ingest that, and that can be dangerous.
Before you feed her, will you do a close-up for them?
I'm sorry, do a what?
A close-up, will you just hold her up for them? They want to get a good view.
This is Pam. She's about 3 weeks old. So what we're going to do is offer her some wet food first. She's a little bit younger than we normally would, but again, we don't want her biting that bottle nipple. given her some wet food, she won't be quite as frantic.
She's a battle and she's opulent.
Is this her first wet cat food meal, or has she done this before?
This is her third, isn't it?
This is her third one, yep.
Okay, she should be a professional at this now. Does she have teeth?
They're starting to grow in. You can start to, when she is suckling on the bottle, you can kind of almost feel her teeth are like kind of grinding a little bit.
Chelsea, do you want to explain Dawn to them? They're worried about Dawn. Will you explain why she's a little more shy than the others?
Well, Dawn actually, she was a foster, when she came in, she only had her mom. So she didn't have any siblings. So coming in here, she pretty much is introduced to different kittens. This is the first time that she's been around kittens that are around her age, not her mom. And so it's definitely very kind of scary to be, it's almost like the first day of school for like a kindergartner. So she's starting to kind of come around and see that the kids are fun. So she is a little bit shy though, but we're trying our best to just show her that everyone is having fun in the cabana.
Someone else is chewing on my finger as well as the food.
Yes? Oh my. Can you please? You smell the food, huh?
Yes,
Do
they
they food?
probably do.
They're asking us to wait and restart when they're ready. I told them we had to start feeding Pam, so you guys determine whether she can wait a second or she needs to keep eating.
Okay, she can wait a little bit. She's got some.
She's a little bit hooted.
Yeah, you have the baby
So for
wipes.
Dawn
Yeah, I'll
and
go grab
all of
those.
our
I'm
foster
just gonna
kittens,
grab
Thank you.
the mothers stay home because the mothers aren't necessarily going to get along with all the other kittens. They stay home until they're dried up and ready to go back for adoption, and then they get adopted out of the Humane Society just like the kittens. So all of the moms are at home until they're ready to go back. Do you know if they're ready yet?
I don't know, I just texted her. Don't make her miserable. If they're not ready yet, go ahead and let her eat.
So they
More important, did you eat?
asked for an update on Mrs. Claus. Do we have any idea whether she's going to be releasable or not?
Okay, and we are live, so actually, you want to go ahead and start with telling them all over again what you're doing and how young she is.
Okay, this is baby Pam. And you take this. I'm having somebody else pull the other kitten off of me because we don't want to handle them and then her because her immune system is very weak because she didn't get mom's colostrum in her milk, and she's also very young. She's turning 3 weeks old today. She's the only survivor out of 4 bottle feeders we had, but she's doing great. She's almost a quarter times the size of a kitten her age, and she eats about double what a kitten her age has done. It's her feeding time right now. We are offering her wet food. It's a little bit early for that. We don't usually introduce that until 4 weeks, but she started biting the bottle nipple, and that can be dangerous. They can bite it, swallow it, and that can mean a big problem. So we're introducing her with a little bit of wet food, giving her a few mouthfuls of that to see if then she's not so frantic when she gets to the bottle. And she's saying, introduce it now! Yes. And I've already given her a few bites, so she might be about ready for the bottle.
A lot of times when we get kittens from the Humane Society, they don't have any kind of history. So in her case, they don't know why the mother wouldn't accept the kittens, other than that was what they were told, that she wouldn't accept them. So they don't know if it was because she was a young mother or if she was maybe a seasoned mother that realized that these kittens were not going to survive. The interns have been amazing. They've been getting up
It started out at every 2, 3, and now it's at 4.
4 hours throughout the entire night, trying to keep those kittens alive. And They even found another mom who was nursing and who was willing to take the kittens in, and the kittens just wouldn't nurse. So it's been a huge struggle to keep this one last kitten alive. But everybody says, you know, it was worth it. The whole litter probably would have been euthanized otherwise because, one, the mother wasn't going to be able to take care of them, and usually there aren't enough foster homes for these kinds of kittens. But in her case, it means a precious little life was protected because they were able to get up every 2 hours and
Oh,
then
yeah.
every 3 hours.
It was worth it.
4
Definitely
hours.
worth it.
Hannah's saying no to this new nipple.
She's like, I don't. Oh yeah, definitely.
We got some very nice new nipples thanks to a generous donor that look more like the mom's actual nipple.
That's what she said as soon as you saw it. You're like, oh, it looks like a mom.
But since these guys wouldn't, we did try to put them with another foster mom, and she accepted them, but they wouldn't suckle from her. So it doesn't surprise me that she maybe didn't care for this nipple. So we'll just keep doing some wet food. And we weigh these guys each time. We already weighed her. She's at 12 ounces. Again, that's about a quarter size bigger than what they would normally be at this age. And we also measure how much they drank.
All of those observations are logged onto a chart, and so those are double checked by Karma to make sure these kittens are growing the way that they should. And then if there's any problems with the kittens, those are logged as well. They had asked me to give you a little bit of a background on what Big Cat Rescue is, and that just would not be complete without bringing in the founder. And that was Windsong. I had done Bobcat Rehab and Release back since I was 17 years old.
Yeah,
But
I didn't actually touch.
in 1992, my late husband and I went to an exotic animal auction, and the guy next to me was bidding on a bobcat. And I told him, I said, when that cat grows up, it's going to tear your face off. And he said he was a taxidermist and that he was just planning on clubbing her in the head in the parking lot. And so I started crying and my husband started bidding, and we probably paid more for that bobcat than anybody's ever paid for a bobcat, but she was not going to die in the parking lot. So she came home, and what we discovered very quickly was she was, as I told the guy, going to be a horrible pet. She would lay on top of the refrigerator and try to jump onto my husband's head and rip his hair out. She was chasing our German Shepherd around the house, giving my daughter, who was 12, a very hard time. And instead of thinking, wow, this is a really bad idea, my late husband decided he wanted one that would like him. So he started calling around, and we ended up at a fur farm. And the guy said that he would sell us a kitten, but we had to drive there in person. And we didn't know it was a fur farm until we got there. Once we got there, he started showing us all of these kittens. And I said, you know, is there that big of a market for these guys as pets? And he said, oh no, whatever we don't sell as pets, we're just going to slaughter next year for their fur. So I started crying, and we came home with every cat there. So that was what started the sanctuary. That was in 1993. 1992 is when Windsong came. 1993, we brought back 56 bobcats, Canada lynx, and Siberian lynx. The following year, 28 off a fur farm. The following year, 22 off of a fur farm. And then people started calling and saying, would you take my lion? Would you take my tiger? Would you take my leopard? And we had no idea people had these animals as pets. So that's how the sanctuary got started. And then we started having to get more help. And we started letting volunteers come in to help us. And an entire volunteer program has been created from that. With me today is Chelsea Beanie. She's in charge of our intern program, which is an awesome program. It gives us people like, actually both of these people, Chelsea and Karma, both came from our intern program. So can you tell me a little bit more about the intern program? Or
Absolutely.
the volunteer program?
Our interns come from all over the world, everywhere from locally all the way to, I think we have 13 different countries so far. And they come for a minimum of 12 weeks to learn how to care for the big cats. They also foster the little ones, so that's a great addition to their education. Sorry if you get rude typing, the cats are helping. Oh my. So that sound you're hearing now is Pam getting help pooping and peeing. As you can imagine, that's not her favorite part of the day, so I'm going to wait till she's done screaming.
She did not want much of the bottle today, and that could be just because she's filling up on the wet food. And the amount of formula they'll take varies with how much solid food they'll eat.
So back to the interns, they come for 12 weeks. We have 5 separate intern levels. So they'll go all the way through our entire process working with the small cats, the Siberian lynx and smaller, all the way up to the lions and the tigers over the course of a year. And then our 5th level is actually a year-long internship based on volunteer management. So that'll give them those management skills that they need to really get a great job when they leave. And that's Karma finished all 5 of those levels. She was one of our firsts. She was part of our beta program, and we were still trying to figure out how that was all going to work. And Chelsea, you're a level 3. Right, you're almost on 4. So you can see we have lots of interns who just come again and again and again, and we're super happy to have them. Our volunteers are all local, and they work a minimum of 4 hours a week. But they have all of the exact same training classes and certifications that our interns do. They just happen a little slower because they aren't here as often. So those 2 programs are identical as far as the training, but the timelines are very different.
She seems to be all set.
And we're always looking for new volunteers. So if you're in the area, go ahead and email info@bigcatrescue.org, and we will get you all the information you need.
Pam's going to go back to bed.
Yes.
I'm going to wash my hands, and I'm going to deworm and flea treat
Oh, fun.
some of the
You ready?
kittens.
Say bye.
Here, I'm going to remove the temptation of this.
Let's see.
Question was, when does the new tiger come? We're rescuing Hoover, the tiger, from Peru. He was seized from an illegal circus down there by the Animal Defenders International. And we are expecting him to be here probably around the 19th. They're still trying to make the arrangements for the flight, but they've got all of the permits in order. And he'll have to come into the Miami airport, I believe. So it means we'll actually have to drive down to Miami and then drive him up here. But we hope to do a live broadcast when we are releasing him into his new enclosure. You can barely see his new enclosure if the camera were to spin all the way around. He's going to be on the other side of the catwalk that goes across the lake there. And he'll have about 2 acres of a beautiful, beautiful, lots of grass and trees. And it'll be just amazing for a cat who's been kept in a circus wagon for his whole life. Question was, do any of these litters have a mom?
So,
Ooh, you got nasty stuff.
yeah, dewormer, yeah. The 3 black and little gray named Bashful actually had a mom with them, and we started the weaning process. And then the little, little Dawn back there had a mom, as Chelsea already explained. It was just her and mom. But the other 2 litters came without a mom. They came to us already weaned. They were 4 to 5 weeks old and already eating solid food. And so yes, I'm going to deworm and flea treat these guys. I need the one who's eating many toes.
I've got them all. they want to play. So we keep getting comments about Dawn. We know Dawn is a little bit standoffish at this point. This is only her 3rd day at daycare, so to speak. So she's getting used to having other kittens around. She was an only kitten. It's just her and mom. She wasn't used to there being other cats around. And this is a very big environment with a lot of kittens. So we're giving her some time to get comfortable. She's improving every single day, getting more and more comfortable with the other cats. But we don't expect her to be social overnight. That's going to take her some time.
It was about 4 years ago that Big Cat Rescue and Explore first ran into each other, and I don't remember exactly how that started. But once I found out about Explore.org, I was on them all the time saying, you guys need to put cameras out here at Big Cat Rescue because we have all these beautiful cats and I just know people will love to see them. And I know that there was a lot of concern initially that because our cats are in cages and most of the people on Explore are used to seeing animals in the wild, that the people on Explore may not like seeing cats in cages. But as it's turned out, the community has been absolutely wonderful and they appreciate the fact that we are against the idea of having cats in cages. Probably the one thing that sets Big Cat Rescue apart from just about any place else is that we are really leading the charge to end the captivity of wild cats in cages because they belong in the wild and we don't believe we can save them in the wild as long as people are pouring time and energy and money into ways to keep them in captivity. One of the side benefits to being involved with Explore.org has been that there's such a robust community of people who watch these cameras all the time that they're telling us stuff about our cats that we never even knew. We're so busy out there doing all of the stuff we have to do to raise the funds for the sanctuary and to manage the volunteers and deal with the public and take care of the cats' needs that a lot of times we don't have the time to just sit and watch what they're doing all day. And so it's been wonderful to have these people who are watching on Explore.org logging photos and videos and observations of the cats, and that's been especially helpful with our rehab cats. Those cats have had cameras on them, but we just don't have the time to watch them as closely as we would like to. And the people on Explore are giving us so much more insight into how those cats are doing and whether or not they're ready to go back to the wild, that it's been absolutely fabulous. We have 6 cameras, 8 actually soon. We get 6 cameras out here right now that are supplied by Explore.org. We have the one that you're on right now. This is the kitten cabana. We have one on our vacation rotation enclosure. That's 2.5 acres where every 2 weeks you'll see a different lion or tiger or possibly a cougar out there. And then we have one in our rehab area where we rehab bobcats to go back to the wild. We have one in our cat hospital. So anytime we're doing any kind of procedure in there, any kind of surgery, dental work, any of that, you're able to actually log in and watch the entire surgery and interact with us in the chat room on the explore.org/Big Cat Rescue page. We have a webcam on Nikita the lioness. She's probably the biggest lioness you will ever meet. She's huge, she's gorgeous, and she's just captivating. So you can log in anytime and see Nikita as well. 2 more cameras that should be coming online soon are going to be one inside that building there because you may have noticed there's a pet door and sometimes kittens run inside there, especially when it's really hot out here. They like to go in the air conditioning, so you'll be able to see the kittens when they go in there. And then in the surgery room, there was a room where we would go in for x-ray and we have to close the doors. It's all lead lined for x-ray. And so now you won't be missing out on x-ray. You'll actually be able to see that as well. Did I miss any cameras? It's a lot of cameras. We will be installing probably late this week, like Friday or early next week, a camera on the 2-acre enclosure where Hoover, the tiger from Peru, will be coming in. And that one, we hope to get that online in time for you guys to actually be able to see him come down and take his very first swim.
So there was a comment on here about the hole in Thor's enclosure. There was a tiny little area where he pulled apart or pulled up the small fishing chicken wire style stuff. That was fixed the same day, so we really appreciate all those observations. Helped us to get that fixed right away, so there's no problem with that anymore.
And I kept running into the room there because I was trying to share the Explore Facebook page on our Facebook page, but our computer's frozen in there, so I wasn't able to get that done in time.
Oh, and then I can put the kittens on it.
Okay.
Johnny has just reached 2 pounds, which means he's going to be ready to go to the Humane Society probably next week.
He's like giving you kitty kisses. No, don't let me go.
When they reach 2 pounds, which is the legal age they can have their spay or neuter surgery, they get to go to the Humane Society and find their forever homes.
Looks like somebody chewed all your whiskers off. You're missing all your whiskers on one side.
Kittens do chew each other's whiskers.
You're so bad. At the staff meeting this morning, I asked Karma if it would be okay if the interns weighed the kittens out here every morning so that you guys can kind of keep an eye on when they're getting close to 2 pounds. I know people ask me all the time, are those kittens ready to go back yet? How long do we have those kittens? And so if they weigh them out here in front of you guys every day, then you'll be able to see that. What you see right here is one of our tours. I don't know if you can spin around and see the tour, but people can come out for guided tours, and this is one of the stops along the way where they can actually look in and see the kittens, and so they wonder why I'm talking to a glass ball on the wall, I'm sure. There's probably about 200 people watching on Explore.org right now, and they're viewing the kittens in a live chat that we have going on. I don't know how you keep track of who got what. Especially when you get into those blacks and tabbies.
Are we planning on putting an Explore camera on the Funcation?
I really want to put a Explore.org camera on our new Funcation for the small cats. The limitation that I have is that one is so far from both power and internet that it's going to require some infrastructure to get there. So it's probably not going to happen in the next 6 months or so.
Oh, I keep them straight, the kittens by their markings, the toe cats, I look at their toes. If there's several blacks, a lot of times I'll have somebody with the house come with me.
Hold them.
Or I will do their medication and put them in a crate. This is the flea treatment. We do get fleas here in Florida.
I just had to have my house sprayed today. Because even though I treat my cat at home every month, we still end up with fleas. So it's a horrible place for fleas. Well, you didn't scream or anything. My cat has a fit when I get him messed up. He can smell it. As soon as you crack that thing open, boom, he is gone.
Some of them act like they dropped acid on.
They were asking how Little Feather is doing.
Little Feather is right behind us here, and he can see her. Yep, she was underneath that platform a little earlier. Unfortunately, Little Feather is 23 years old, born in 93. And she's on our list of cats who are watched daily for how much food they're consuming. We already know that she's in renal failure, and so every day they go out 3 times during the course of the day and offer her a little bit of food. And so what they'll do is each time they chart how much food she ate, and then by the end of the day we want to make sure that she ate enough to be keeping herself alive. She still has a strong will to survive. She's still drinking well on her own. We're not having to give her sub-Q fluids any longer, but you know, she's getting close to the end. In the wild, these guys only live to be 10 or 12. In most of their facilities, they only live to be about 12. So when they're living to 22, 23 here, it's like double their lifespan, and their organs just wear out on them. So what we do is, as long as they seem to want to survive and they keep eating, we will offer them anything they want, anytime they want it, and we will watch them extremely closely for that time when they tell us that they're giving up and they're ready to go. You're big. Are you sure you're not too big? It looks like the people on Facebook figured out that they needed to go over to Explore because I'm not seeing questions here. I'm hearing a lot of, oh, so cute, awesome, oh my gosh, look at my heartstrings. That's what you guys are. Did you talk about the Hemingway cats?
So,
Is this the one that's
I didn't. I need to. Okay. We've got a litter of 5, and all of them but one are Hemingways, which means extra toes or polydactyl.
They need a close-up of those people.
So you'll see the extra toes here and on the back. And this is Dodger. He's got the most. He's the little boy. Now these guys do need extra care. They need their nails trimmed regularly because sometimes they have nails in between the toes that need to be clipped because otherwise it can curl all the way around and become ingrown and become fairly painful.
Question just came in about Mrs. Claus. We also discussed her at our staff meeting this morning. Every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock we have a staff meeting where all of our staff gets together and we discuss anything that we need help with somebody else at the table about. So with Mrs. Claus, she recently managed to kill a squirrel on her own, and she turned into like super predator, which really surprised us. We were concerned that maybe the prey we were giving her was not wild enough to really bring out her wild instincts, and she did a great job. She was a little inexperienced in the way that she dealt with it, and the squirrel got latched to her forehead for a while. We're watching that to make sure it doesn't get infected, but she did manage to kill it, and she was really, really fast. So now the problem is she's tiny. I mean, these guys are like 2 pounds. Imagine, what, 4 of those, and that's how big she is. Can you put 4 cats together and show me? She's just tiny. She's not skinny. She actually looks really fat, but she's just this little tiny bobcat, and she's not going to survive out there in that kind of a tiny frame. So we don't know if there's some problem, some dwarfism with her, or just why she's so little. But we're watching that too. So we're hoping she's going to have this great growing spurt like teenagers do, and that she'll fill out into a full-size bobcat. We also discussed today that she's still too people-oriented, even though you guys dress up as trees and do all kinds of stuff to try and not associate people and food. She just seems to gravitate toward people. So we're going to have to look at either a place where she can't possibly run into people because they'll think she's rabid if she just walks right up to them. Or, consider that she may not be releasable. But she's doing well. She's very healthy and doing well in that regard. Kitten slide.
Yeah.
Step up and step on anybody.
Everybody's had their dewormer and flea treatment that need it.
Ahoo.
So we deworm the kittens every 2 weeks for 3 doses because that takes care of any type of parasite they might get, as well as the larva. The first dose may not take care of the eggs and larvae, so it needs to be redone in 2 weeks. And they also, again, like I say, get flea treated once a month. Before they come into the cabana, they get SNAP tested. That's a test for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus. And they also will get their first vaccine, which is a combination upper respiratory vaccine. And they get that twice.
Getting lots of thank yous.
So I just asked how long we should go, and they said we should go as long as you guys have questions. So if you have any questions, let Chelsea know on the Discuss chat board there so that she can make sure that we answer them
They
for you
wanted to know
before
if there was a forecast on Thor's release.
Thor. Thor.
It's special.
He's lazy. He thinks he's hit the jackpot. All the time that we had to keep him in a very small cage in the cat hospital, we were chopping up his food for him because he had been hit in the head with a car, and so his jaw had to heal, and we didn't want him stretching that or damaging that, so he was getting his food cut up very fine for him. Now that he is healed enough that he can eat whole prey, and healed enough that he can get out and start getting the exercise to put muscle back on, we've moved him outside, and he still wants his food served on a platter all chopped up for him. So what I had just asked the people who watched the Explorer cameras this morning to do was to give us some insight as to what he's doing in there. Is he going after the rats at all, or is he just ignoring them until food gets there? We're finding parts of carcasses and such, but sometimes that's from the dead prey that we give him, so we just don't know how interested he is in hunting so that he'll be able to go back to the wild. So we're really hoping that the people on explore.org will help us with that. Aside from that, he's in great health and he could go back to the wild, I think, as long as we can make sure that he can hunt. Once he starts hunting, then it'll be 30 days to be sure that he's really ready to go and has the muscle tone that he needs.
Wanted to know if Nikita does somersaults for only certain people.
You know, I saw that question earlier, and I don't know, because she does somersaults for me. Does she go for you?
Occasionally.
You? No? You? Well, there you have it. 2 out of 4. But I don't know if there's any real reason to that, or if it's just a matter of timing. My goodness, you have a bunch of kittens in front of you. Oh my gosh.
This is the most we've had in the cabana in a while. We have 14.
Have we ever had 14?
I believe we have.
Have we?
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
Kitten season in Florida is like year-round because our winters are so mild, and that's why we have such a huge feral cat and domestic cat problem here with cats dying in shelters. But even here, there are cycles. So through the winter, there are far fewer kittens that come in, and through the spring and summer, it's just packed. It's standing here all the way in the kitten room.
How is Nikita healing since her last hospital visit?
Nikita?
What it says.
Nikita Lyon? How long ago was that?
I remember once I've been here, and that's over 2 years.
Nikita is famous for rubbing up against the fence. And you guys, if you watch her on the Explore cams, you know she's always rubbing up against the fence. And when she does that, she'll rub up against palmettos, she'll rub up against the corner of the feeding bowl thing, and occasionally she will scratch herself. So just recently, she had a scratch and abrasion on her, and we asked the vet to look at it. It had healed over beautifully. It was almost done healing, and the vet went out to look at her, and she rubbed up against the cage really hard and knocked the scab off, and then it was a big open wound again. So she's always dealing with those kinds of things just because it's her nature to rub all over everything. And when you're 500 pounds and you're rubbing hard against something, you can do some damage. I see little ice in there.
They want to know who's on vacation next.
I don't know. I might be able to look that up for you. We post a list every once in a while. And that list is always subject to change based on what's going on. So like right now, Kali is on vacation. She has another week, I think, that she's out there. We needed to fix one of the other tiger cages where a tree has been pushing on it for years. The tree branch has been cut away, but the cage is still kind of wonky, so we're gonna fix that cage. So we moved that cat into her cage. But then who is next after her? I'm not sure.
So I don't know much about the Recipe Book project except that it exists. I know that our Facebook fans and some of our other people are helping to compile a recipe book, but you would have to talk to our Facebook people to get more about that. That's not something I'm particularly familiar with. Are you, Carol?
A recipe book?
Recipe.
Oh, recipe book. Yes, if you send your recipes to win a contest, win@bigcatrescue.org. That's Luana. She's putting together the recipe book.
And then Max and Marianne are going to return to their enclosure when they're done on vacation, correct?
Yes, we had some work we needed to do in their enclosure. As you guys can hear, there are beautiful waterfalls running next door. But one of the pools, that one, the one to the right, whenever the cameras are looking over there in the morning, the top pool just constantly is leaking. And so we had talked about just completely giving up on the waterfall and filling it in with dirt, but they wanted to try one last time to see if they can get that thing to not leak. So that's being worked on while they're on vacation. And then Jamie said just a little while ago that she'd really like for Frosty, the white-footed serval, to be able to go on vacation in the Small Cat Fun area next, because he's still in really good health and could really make use of that space, and he might really enjoy that. So we may send him out for a little while too. We're putting the little cats over there because we're building tunnels off of that area, and it's safer for our guys to work around the servals and bobcat sizes rather than having leopards right there behind them while they're trying to build these tunnels off of the side to the surrounding cages.
So we do not have sand cats anymore, and we do not have any domestic cats roaming the property. But Carol, why doesn't Nikita like other cats?
You know, I don't know for sure. She was seized in a drug raid, and she was kept chained to the wall of a crack house. And so what happens when people get these animals and raise them as pets is they have to pull them from the mothers when they're only a few hours or at most a few days old, or else the cub will bond with its mother instead of with a human. And by doing that, those cubs never, by the time their eyes open, they've never seen another cub. They've never seen another lion. When Nikita came here, we had two situations. We had an older female lion and we had a younger female lion. And we tried to introduce her to both, and neither of those went well. They were very scary, and we were very quick to get them separated before they hurt each other. But we learned pretty quickly from that she wants nothing to do with other lions. And if she can see another cat, all she wants to do is dig at the wire and dig over there and kill them. So that's why she lives in an area of the sanctuary where she can't see any other cats. That's by design. It keeps her a lot more comfortable, and it keeps all the other cats around her a lot happier. And that's why she doesn't go on vacation. She has a nice big open air area in addition to her roofed area, and you guys can see that area on her webcam. We did that as a kind of a prototype for the vacation rotation area to make sure that it would hold a big, scary cat like her. And I can't find that list of who's going up next. If I had to guess, I would say that it's Cameron and Zabu, but I don't know that for sure.
Any other questions?
Boy, we're way over time. 4:10. Oh my goodness.
All right, last chance. Let's see. So thank you.
Well, thank you for watching.
Saying nice things about us. I'm liking it. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'm sure we'll do this again in the future. And while we're all leaving, the kittens will still be here, so you'll have plenty to entertain.
Thank you, and thank you Explore.org for making it possible for us to watch our cats better and to engage with all of your wonderful people.